we think that this is just this biological thing. But imagine if that's not what's going on. Imagine if this is a program and that you are just consciousness that's connected to this thing that's creating this experience that is indistinguishable from what we like to think of as a real biological experience from carbon-based life forms interacting with solid physical things in the real world.
It's still unclear to me what I'm supposed to do differently or think differently.
There's no answer. Yeah, you're 100% right. What can you do differently? I mean, if you exist as if it's a simulation, if you just live your life as if it's a simulation, is that... I don't know if that's the solution. I think...
I mean, it's real to me no matter what.
Mm-hmm. It's real. Yeah.
I'm going to live it that way.
Mm-hmm. And that will be the problem with an actual simulation if and when it does get implemented.
Yeah.
If we do create an actual simulation that's indistinguishable from real life, like what are the rules of the simulation? How does it work? Is that simulation fair and equitable and much more reasonable and peaceful? Is there no war in that simulation? Should we all agree to hook up to it because we'll have a completely different experience in life, and all the angst of crime and violence and the things that we truly are terrified of, there will be non-existent in this simulation. Yeah. I mean, if we keep going, it seems like if you just extrapolate from where VR is now. Did you see the podcast that Lex Friedman did with Mark Zuckerberg?
I saw some clips, but I haven't got to watch the whole thing.
Bizarre, right? So they're essentially using like very realistic physical avatars in the metaverse. Like that's step one. That's Pong.
Maybe that's step 3.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little beyond Pong at that point.
Yeah, maybe it's Atari.
Yeah.
Maybe you're playing Space Invaders now. But whatever it is, it's on the path to this thing that will be indistinguishable. That seems inevitable. Those two things seem inevitable to me. The inevitable thing to me is that we will create a life form that is an artificial, intelligent life form that's far more advanced than us, and once it becomes sentient, it will be able to create a far better version of itself. And then as it has better versions of itself, it will keep going, and if it keeps going, it will reach godlike capabilities. The complete understanding of every aspect of the universe and the structure of it itself, how to manipulate it, how to travel through it, how to communicate. And that, if we keep going, if we survive 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, and we're still on this same technological exponential increasing in capability path, that's God. We become something like a God. And that might be what we do. That might be what intelligent, curious, innovative life actually does. It creates something that creates the very universe that we live in.
Like creates the next simulation and then...
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's the birth of the universe itself, is creativity and intelligence, and that it all comes from that. I used to have this joke about the Big Bang. Like, what if the Big Bang is just a natural thing? Like humans get so advanced that they create a Big Bang machine, and then we're so autistic and riddled with Adderall that we have no concept or worry of the consequences. And someone's like, "I'll fucking press it," and they press it, and boom, and we start from scratch every 14 billion years, and that's what a Big Bang is. I mean, I don't know where it goes, but I do know that if you looked at the human race from afar, if you were an alien life form, completely detached from any understanding of our culture, any understanding of our biological imperatives, and you just looked at, like, what is this one dominant species doing on this planet? It makes better things. That's what it does.
That I agree.
It goes to war. It steals, it does a bunch of things that it shouldn't do, it pollutes, it does all these things that are terrible. But it also consistently and constantly creates better things, whether it's better weapons, going from the catapult to the rifle to the cannonballs to the rocket ships to the hypersonic missiles to nuclear bombs. It creates better and better and better things. That's the number one thing it does. And it's never happy with what it has. And you add that to consumerism, which is baked into us, and this desire, this constant desire for newer, better things. Well, that fuels that innovation because that gives it the resources that it needs to consistently innovate and constantly create newer and better things. Well, if I was an alien life form, I was like, oh, what is it doing? It's trying to create better things. Well, what is the forefront of it? Technology. Technology is the most transformative, the most spectacular, the most interesting thing that we create. And the most alien thing. The fact that we just are so comfortable that you can FaceTime with someone in New Zealand, like instantly.
We can get used to anything pretty quickly. You know?
Anything.
And take it for granted almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, well, if you were an alien life form and you were looking at us, you're like, well, what is it doing? Oh, it keeps making better things. It's going to keep making better things. Well, if it keeps making better things, it's going to make a better version of a thinking thing. And it's doing that right now. And you're a part of that. It's going to make a better version of a thinking thing. Well, that better version of a thinking thing, it's basically now in the amoeba stage. It's in the small multicellular life form stage. Well, what if that version becomes a fucking Oppenheimer? What if that version if it scales up so far that it becomes so hyper intelligent that it is completely alien to any other intelligent life form that has ever existed here before? And it constantly does the same thing, makes better and better versions of it. Well, where does that go? It goes to a god. It goes to something like a god. And maybe God is a real thing, but maybe it's a real consequence of this process that human beings have of consistently, constantly innovating and constantly having this desire to push this envelope of creativity and of technological power.